morning reception. Now, for this week's literacy lessons, we're going to be looking at a new book today, another one by Julia Donaldson, and it's called The Snail and the Whale. So we're going to start by reading the story together, and we've got Chester here with us today. He wants to listen to today's story. So we're going to start and have a look what happens in the story. The Snail and the Whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpbacked whale. This is the rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with the itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock, and he gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as he gazed, he sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, so put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it, I'm going to hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, of a silvery loop that curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpbacked whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpbacked whale. He held out his tail to the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come on, come and sail with me." This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, where fiery mountains had golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny, warm and blue, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning, flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And she gazed at the sky and the sea and the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed at it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day where the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with his ear-splitting roar, making them swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. Oh no! And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. "Quick off the sand, back to sea," cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. "Then I've got it," she cried, and she started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit still, don't talk." This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail," the teacher turns pale. "Look," said the children, "it's leaving a trail." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, "Save the whale." This is the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" And the whale and the snail travelled safely away. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of a humpbacked whale. Then the humpbacked whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the great blue humpbacked whale. So we've read so far 4 Julia Donaldson books while we've been working from home, and today I want you to have a little chat with your grown-ups about which one you've liked the best, and can you tell your grown-up why? So let's just have a quick reminder of the ones we've read so far. So we've been looking at Monkey Puzzle. We've read The Snail and the Whale today, and for this week's work we've looked at Superworm and What the Ladybird Heard. So I want you to have a think about which of those books you like the best. If you've got them at home, you can read them again, or you can watch the videos from the weeks before with the stories on them and have a think about which one you like the best. And then I want you to put them into what we call an order: first, second, third and fourth. So I'm going to have a look. My favourite book, and the one that I've really liked the best, has been Superworm. So I'm going to put Superworm in what we call first place. First is number one on your list. So for me, it's Superworm is number 1. And I'm going to have a look. Which one did I like next? I like The Ladybird Heard. So I'm going to put this into what we call second position. Number 2. So we've got a little bit of maths going on here as well today in our literacy. Second position. We've got the Monkey Puzzle and The Snail and the Whale left. Yes, I did like The Snail and the Whale that we're learning about this week. So I'm going to put that one into third position. That's my favourite in position number 3. Third. And which one did I like in the fourth position? Which is my 4th favourite? I'm going to go with Monkey Puzzle. Is my 4th favourite. So you could make yourself some signs, or you could just put them in order, or just chat to your grown-ups about which stories you've liked, why you like them, and why perhaps you don't like them. So before we write our sentence for today's literacy, if you made some dough over the weekend, don't worry if you haven't, you don't have to do this part. You could just have a go at going to the dough disco. I'll leave the links in the description box to the video if you want to have a go. Remember that dough really works those muscles in your hands to get ready for writing. Remember some of those dough disco moves? You have to slap it, you've got to pinch it, get all those muscles moving. Now, because I chose Superworm as my favourite story, the one I like the best, I'm going to write a sentence now about Superworm, and I've thought about it, I've put it on the board, and now together we're going to write it. We're going to blend the words, sound out the words so we can write our sentence. Now Liana, I've borrowed your phonics board today, I hope you don't mind. I've got the word because here, because in your sentence I'd like you to use this word today. Because. Why you like your story, because. So let's do an example, let's do one together. And I've decided I like Superworm the best because I like how he helps all of his friends in the end in the story. So I'm going to try and make it a little bit of a smaller sentence with the word because in it. So I'm going to start with I. Tricky word, I. I like Superworm Now it's on the front cover of the book, so that's always a good clue, always a good way to help you if you're not sure how to write a word. I like super worm. And then I'm going to use this word because. And then I want to write, he helps his friends. He, tricky word we've been looking at, helps his is his friends. You can ask your grown-up to help you with words you're not sure of, because this is quite a long sentence. It's a lot I'm asking you to have a go at here. If you can't quite do all this writing, don't worry. You can just tell your grown-up why you like your book the best, and your grown-ups can let me know on the email.